Hey, what's up? It's Keith. How are you doing? So I was gonna pound up the Dorian Virtue video, but I thought I'd put up one more thing. That one's coming up like before the end of the day today. I am doing some experimentation, as I said in the last video, but what I want to address specifically in this one, because I think my time on YouTube has been known as being a fat-heavy, oil-heavy vegan. And I just want to say that I'm moving into some areas of experimentation just to see what's going on, because I've moved things in and out of my life. I think there's a lot of things as I've studied astrology. I'm letting other modalities of thinking affect other areas. So in the study of astrology, which would be like a metaphysical thing, into the physical, which would be nutrition, I have realized that, like, for example, somebody may think that a planet or something has possibly not the greatest effect, or some transition may have a bad effect. Well, I can say the same thing in nutrition. So when I started taking oils and being like kind of to the fat, heavy side, which I feel like gave me a loyalty to high fat, ketogenic, and a paleo thing, but more in a vegan way. That I had a lot of breakthroughs. I had some breakthroughs with erectile dysfunction, with having racing thoughts. But the things that I found out in astrology, while you may have like an odd lineup, like right now we have Mars and Mercury coming into conjunction with the eclipse points, but you could have other aspects in your chart that could like sort of mellow that out. And so the same is true with nutrition, of where the period that I was coming out of, with, for one, being erectile dysfunction, because the fats and oils got me out of the woods with that, and then it also, like, a lot of my thoughts became more focused. I used to be really racy and sketchy. Well, the things that I've learned is that, well, for one thing, I was heavily caffeinated back then. Also, that I'm extremely, practically exclusively right-brained. And for that reason, I've actually, if you look in the drop-down, I'm starting to write up, which the beginning stages of a biography are there, and you can kind of see that I do have my shit together, even though I speak like a fucking crazy man. Yeah. So I'm just, and a lot of this stuff is all new areas that I'm experiencing of a very willful kind of experimentation. But back onto the topic, there are different things about me now. My foundational diet, my life is very secure, in the sense of that I'm not like kind of emotionally distraught. A lot of other things have, let's just say, I've reached a higher plane with, or at least I think I have. So there's a humbleness that I have right now with like thinking that I know everything. I've really kind of chilled that out. And as you get older, and you know, that sort of arrogance and confidence can kind of work its way, like possibly to the forefront of being a bit of a know-it-all, which I'll own to being. I do know a lot of shit, but I'm also dropping myself back to a little bit of humility. And so, starting in May, because of some financial choices I made, and maybe just I hadn't made a conscious decision, but I decided to back off on some oils and stuff, and I actually went a long period of not doing coconut oil, I think starting back in April, like maybe 30 or 40 days, and it was pretty okay. We don't know the long-term effects of it, but then I got another jar, and a kind of, or a big one of the big ones from Costco, which is like 54 ounces, and I pretty much plowed through that, but then I stayed out of it with just like, well, let's do some experimentation and let's see what's happening. So all I can say is that, like, fat or oil is not whole food, and I'm messing around, experimenting with what's going to happen with me with being exclusively whole food. And as I said in the last video, I'm taking a lot of chia seeds. I have learned from various sources that if you are vegan and you have a long-term vegan constitution, which I do, that your body processes and adapts and changes fats differently than most people. I've also learned from another person that like chia actually will change fats or the DHA is the hard one to get, and so from somebody I trust, they said that basically there is a conversion that happens, especially if you're already vegan oriented. So what I'm doing is experimenting. Again, I don't really care. The whole Uranus retrograde thing is definitely putting me into an area of not really caring about science, which has always been a theme in me lately for the last couple of years, and of like being far more experimental, and we'll see what comes out the other end. But at this time, I'm being, let's just say, conservative with oils. I haven't been taking coconut oil at all. I just finished off some olive oil that I have. I have some red palm, well, for example, my meals over the last couple of days, like today, I put just a tablespoon of red palm oil in a salad dressing that I made. And then yesterday I drizzled a very small amount of hemp oil on some buckwheat that I ate, and that was pretty much it. And so, but I'm taking a shitload of chia. So I have a much more experimental mind. I have no regrets about anything that I've done in the past. The word should is not in my vocabulary. I like everything that I have going on, and the new frontiers that lie in front of me are like exciting, and I have a very curious and open-minded view of experimentation. And within this, I do want to say that culturally or just like other aspects contribute to things. Like, for example, one of my opinions about the China study, and in general for people to study Asian culture and their diet, it's way far off. Because for me, what comes into effect in those is cultural differences, and especially spirituality and sort of the place that a Eastern or an Asian person, specifically a working class Asian person, sees themselves in versus your average Westerner. The average Western person really is like kind of in a way in a constant traumatized position with like elements of success and a sort of very depleted and depraved spirituality, whereas most just basic working class Asians have a deep traditional ancient lineage and DNA connection with a spirituality that just sees things as they are. And I very much think that this really takes play into the sort of longevity success of a lot of Asians, and specifically more your third world type of Asians, while I believe longevity, like Japanese women are like I think some of the longest living humans, but I do not consider Japan to be third world Asia. Third world Asia is sort of like, Cambodia, Thailand, parts of China. And it'll be interesting with the China study to see what's going to happen with all this, as China is becoming a making roads into being a first world country, as you see like a lot of the Chinese adapting Western philosophies. And when I was in Thailand, I very much saw that, of them being very, very different from what they've been in most of written history. So that's enough for now. Like I said, next video coming up is going to be the Doreen Virtue Slam video. In the drop down, I have a bio that I'm starting to write on myself. There's a good first draft in there. I'm going to work on that more and more. I'm getting more connected into my blog and into the things that are important to me. Support me by supporting my music. Links in the drop down. Firstly to my Bandcamp, secondculture.bandcamp.com and second-culture.com. All right, it's Keith. Bright blessings. Over and out. Namaste. Love you much. Bye-bye.